Hi, welcome back to our channel. Very often I have heard students raise this concern that listening is a tough module, whether it be IELTS or OET. Now, what could be the reason? When I had interactions with the students, some of the problems that I could identify were, one is that they are unable to follow the accent. Of course, each one of us, we have our own accent. Now, the audios which you get to listen in your listening test have accents which includes British, American, Australian. So that is one problem area that students report, that they are unable to follow the accent. Sometimes they find it difficult to get the pronunciation right. So for this reason, what happens? They miss out the keywords. They're not able to identify the right answer. Sometimes they misinterpret words, which again results in losing scores. So this is one problem area that I have identified, that is unable to follow the accent or pronunciation. Then another problem which was found was the speed, that is the students are unable to match up with the pace of the audio. We know that native speakers speak really quick. So students find it difficult to match up with that speed. And in your listening test, whether it be IELTS or OET, the audio would be played only once. So they don't get enough time to understand what is being said in the audio and then check the questions and mark the answers. A lot of things need to be done, so they find it really difficult. So pace of the audio is another problem which they have reported. Then another area is that sometimes some students say that, okay, I'm able to understand the accent and I'm able to understand what is being said in the audio. I'm able to match up with the pace. But the problem is that I'm not able to relate what is being said in the audio to what I see on the question paper. Does that happen with you as well? Yes, because you know that a lot of paraphrasing happens. That is, you cannot expect to see the same words that you hear in the audio in the question booklet. A lot of synonyms would be used. For this reason, students sometimes struggle to find struggle to connect what is being heard in the audio to what they say in the question booklet. That is another problem area, relating what is being heard in the audio to what is seen in the question booklet. Then we have another group of students. They say that, like, those who have really good listening skills, okay, and they are really quick. The processing is also really fast. They understand what is being said in the audio and they are able to relate it to the question seen on the question booklet, but still they lose marks. Why? Spelling errors. They're not very good with spellings. That is another problem that comes with listening. If you're not good with the spellings in part A of OET listening, or when it comes to IELTS listening in completion type of questions wherein you have to write words, if you don't know the right spelling, then that is also a problem. Then another concern that some of the students had was they're not able to focus, they lack concentration, especially when the audio is lengthy. That is when it comes to IELTS listening in part 3, or when it comes to OET listening in part C, where you have lengthy audios. They say that they have this tendency to mentally drift off from the audio and they again miss out the right answers. Okay, so we can summarize that these are the problem areas in general. That is understanding or unable to follow the accent or pronunciation, then difficulty to match up with the speed of the audio, then unable to relate what is being said in the audio and what you see in the question booklet, then spelling errors and losing out focus. Now, this is not just the students' concern, like it's quite evident also from the performance of some really good students who are good in writing, speaking, and even reading modules. When it comes to listening, they tend to fumble. So what could be done regarding this? Is there a solution? Yes, I can suggest a simple but effective solution: podcasts. Podcast listening is a simple tool but very effective to improve your listening. When you continuously listen to podcasts, it's actually training your brain to listen better. It is something which can be done very easily. You can do it, you need not be in a classroom. You can do it while walking, traveling, relaxing, or even when you're doing your daily chores. So at this point, I would like to introduce a very, very useful tool that is in both our IELTS and OET apps, Medcity's IELTS app as well as OET app, we have an exclusive section for podcasts where you have an extensive collection of top-notch podcast materials tailor-made for both IELTS and OET students. Let me introduce you all to that section. How do you find it? On Medcity app's homepage, you have a section for practice materials. Under practice materials, there is a section for podcast listening materials. When you click onto that, you get a list of podcast listening materials. Now, how to use it? Click on any one of the material and then the audio starts playing. And you can see the options to play the same audio in 3 different accents: American, Australian and British. Not just that, the transcript for each and every audio also comes along with the podcast. Isn't that interesting? Okay, you've seen where to find the podcast and how to use them. Now what to do next? Of course, you can listen to them, but you can also plan specific activities based on these podcasts which can actually improve your listening skill. Let's see, what are they? One activity that you can plan is word-by-word transcription. What you need to do is listen to 30 to 60 seconds of a podcast and try writing down exactly what you hear. If you miss something, replay, pause and try again. Later, check it with the actual transcript. Now, what is the benefit? It sharpens your listening accuracy. You train your ear to catch every word and sound. In addition to sharpening your listening accuracy, other benefits of this word-by-word transcription activity are it improves your spelling, vocab, and focus on word forms. Another activity that you can think of is summary writing. You listen to the podcast for a minute and then pause the audio and try writing it down in your own words. By doing so, it can improve your comprehension, retention skills, the ability to process ideas. Then, of course, paraphrasing. When you're writing it down in your own words, you're forced to paraphrase things, so it helps you with that as well. Then another thing that you can try out is you can try listening to the audio at variable speeds. Initially, you can start off by listening at the normal speed, then slowly increase it to 1.25, 1.5 and 2. So by doing so, you get adapted to fast audios as well. And this can actually boost your confidence on the day of the test. And also it helps you in improving your concentration. Then another thing that you can try out is listening to variable accents. As I've already shown, in our Medcity's OET as well as IELTS app, in the podcast section, you get to listen to the video in 3 different accents: British, American and Australian. You can try out all these variations. Maybe sometimes some students have difficulty with a specific accent. If you have identified so, then give more focus to that accent. So these are some of the additional activities that you can plan while listening to the podcast. Did you think they are fantastic? Despite students say that getting good scores in listening is luck, I wouldn't say so. It's all about practice. And now you've got a good method or technique to do that. So make podcast listening a habit. And you can download Medcity's app and do your podcast listening practice there. The link to download Medcity's app will be provided in the description. Thank you and stay tuned.
Medcity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.